What up, world? It's your boy Mark Walter Ward, Super Fact Show, Super Fast Network. Today we got with us an incredibly talented producer from overseas. Worked with Public Enemy, Arrested Development. Got many outstanding releases in his own right. My man Configa Beats. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Man, I'm chilling. I can't call it. You know, I found out about you on for the fucking Love album, the new Arrested Development project.
Dope, man.
And you know, your tag, I just kept being like, man, who is Configa? And then you know, I was lucky enough to do an episode with Speech, and we got to talking about you.
Yeah.
For those that missed it, basically to sum it up, what I was saying was, it was amazing to me just from that one album, the placement you have on there, the disparity of your sound, because you was literally making beats that sounded like, you know, I promise I'm not being hyperbolic. Anybody go check his discography out, the new Arrested Development album. But like he had beats that sounded like literally it could be like some new G-Funk shit for YG, or like another beat sounded like Diggable Planets might have picked it for the album that had the blowout comb on the cover.
Yeah, man. I remember you saying that in the speech. I did catch the interview, and that was dope, man. And thanks for showing me the love, and Speech for showing me the love as well. And like, it's a blessing, man. And the thing is, the ironic thing that you mentioned about this, the tag is that generally it's 99% love, and so many people discover me through the tag. But you get a few little haters saying, "Why have you got this the repetitive your name at the start of every track?" Well, I put it down to like when someone's like drawing a painting, and like why does an artist tag their painting and sign a painting? It's the same sort of thing. So it sends so much more traffic my way and increases so much more awareness about what I do,
you are so right. You're so right. When I used to work with artists directly, I used to always tell them, if you do a feature on a bigger artist verse or an artist who has a totally different fan base, make sure you say your name. Because I remember, that's right. I approach everything like when I sell shit, I approach it as a buyer.
Precisely.
When I approach music, I approach it as a listener. And it was so many times back in the day, because you know, record companies ain't want to credit nobody on them albums in the 90s.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
And somebody'd have a verse, and I'd be like, this motherfucker nice as shit, but I want to know who the fuck it was. And you know, I'm in the DC area, and let's say they from the West Coast or something, but let's say they're from like San Diego. Like I remember I heard a Mac Dre shit, and it took me like 8 years to find out who the fuck it was I had heard on that one song.
Exactly. Yeah, man. It's like saying your name, referencing who you are, or like when you're a producer, having a beat tag, which a lot of producers do. So many do these days, particularly the trap guys coming up. I mean, standard these days, bro. But like, you know, to get a foot in the door, and I've been using a beat tag for like at least 15 years, man. And it served me very good. It served me really well. And just like yeah, if an MC was spitting, I would ask them to sit, because I used to a guy on my record label who was on my record label, he said his name every verse, and I encouraged that as well, pretty much. Or the start of every track, at least he would say his name constantly. So that and I've always encouraged that.
But you said some cast was getting annoyed by that shit, but you know what that means?
Yeah, that means
they heard it a lot, and that means it is successful. So they're annoyed at your success.
That's what I'm saying. There was one guy, right? Took the time. He's from Germany, I believe, right? Took the time out to write to me and write about 3 paragraphs about why my tag had affected his listening of an album that I produced. Like, bro, I made what you're enjoying, that the beats that you enjoy listening to, I made them. So therefore, I've got a right to have a 2-second point where my name is just looped.
Hey, but his defense comes some slack, bro. He might have found like his great grandfather's diary that morning or some shit.
No comment. And also another thing, right, bro? We were playing on the BBC. We were playing on the BBC, big station, huge station, huge listening, and basically, obviously they introduced AD because in Arrested Development album, and said Arrested Development new track, thank you. But the first thing you heard, they didn't mention me, but the first thing you heard was Configa, say no more.
Right. Word.
That's it. And it doesn't need to be any credits or them to say me, because the track said it for me. So, you know what I mean?
Hey, I wasn't sure I was gonna ask you this until I heard you talk, but you might be the man that to solve this for me and my wife. I got her watching Top Boy since Top Boy about to come back out, and man,
Some
I don't know.
UK shit.
This is totally off track, but season 1 done fucking disappeared in the United States. You can only watch
Oh wow.
season 2 on Netflix, the Summer House shit, or the shit that
Yeah.
just used to be Top Boy. But
Yeah.
I can break down all the slang to it because I fuck with SAS heavy. Shit. Shout out
I
Megan.
remember those dudes. They were like they've been around for years, man.
Remember them? They still dropping vinyls. Selling 50 to 100,000 copies in the first month.
Wow, bro. Like
Runway maybe. Shit, that jump behind me with the eyeball that got Steve Aoki standing on. It's like a jump they put out like 3 years ago.
Well, I'm thinking about SAS. Like it must be at least 15 years ago. When I first started hearing about those guys. They've been out for a minute, man. Out for a minute.
Hey, look them up on Spotify. Their discography post Dipset is incredible. Like that album right there is called Galaxy Celestial.
Yeah, because people used to say there's people here, a few crop heads in the UK were saying that they're too American. However, it doesn't matter because there was a big movement in the early 2000s where if you started rapping with an American accent, then you were whack, whatever. But the fact is that SES had that style, but stuck with it. And
plus,
now no one really cares.
They lived in fucking New York and made it on Rockefeller.
That's right.
On their own.
Yeah, on their own. Yeah.
So look who they around. How the fuck you not gonna rap with an accent, American accent a little bit? I mean, because to us they sounded British as shit. I'm sure to y'all. I'm sure to y'all.
I mean, look at Money Love, right? Look at Money Love. He was on the album, on our album, Arrested Development. She still speaks with a British accent, but she raps in American accent because that was the way of the 80s. But there was like sort of a kickback against that in the sort of 90s, 2000s. But now it's almost like I think people are past giving this shit. To be honest with you, there used to be like when I was growing up, I used to rap I gotta be honest, I used to rap in a slight American accent myself, and then I dropped it because trying to keep it real. But who cares? Yeah,
exactly, man. Make music however the fuck you want to make it.
Exactly.
What I'm saying? Especially since you don't gotta rely on labels these days.
Bro, it's the same as KRS-One doing patois.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say,
he's not from Jamaica.
Like Spice One with the Jamaican hooks. Yeah, I was about to say.
It's what you hear. It's what you're around. So if you're subjected to American music all the time, like I was, it's going to inflect how you rap. When I was young.
I don't know the answer to this, but who invented that? Whatever country they invented the amp in, that'd be like every other country being like, well, we can't use an amp on our guitars because it's not from our country.
Yeah. And also, bro, think about this, right? All the singers in the world sing in an American accent. They sing in an American accent. So it's apparently cool to sing in an American accent, but apparently if you rap in an American accent, that was or used to be taboo. How does that work? Like you can sing with an accent, but you can't rap in an accent? How? Who made the rules? I don't know.
Well, I mean, rappers always get judged harder, but we got way off the subject because I wanted to ask you, and I might be saying this wrong, but on Top Boy, what do they mean when they be saying wagwan or wagwan or whatever they be saying?
It's a Jamaican term. It's wagwan. That means what's going on.
Ah, got you.
Yeah.
Oh,
wagwan. What's going on? Yeah, wagwan. Literally. Yeah. Wagwan, bro. Yes.
See, I be watching everything with the subtitles now and shit. So I guess I took that jump too. I took that jump too literally.
It's generally WAGWAN. Wagwan.
Nah, I totally get it now. I ain't gonna front. I just feel dumb for asking. Oh well, fuck it. But
wagwan, man. Wagwan, bro.
Hey, so I know you know about Conway and all them upstate artists. It's a cat. It's a cat they make songs with named B.A. Bad. And I did a show with him recently, and I follow him on Twitter. And the reason I'm telling you about this, I saw, and I kind of know this answer, but I wouldn't know how to phrase it. And since you're the Ph.D. of boom bap, he said,
you did your research. I'm literally Ph.D. of hip hop. Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. But he said in a tweet, "What's boom bap, and is it the same thing as hip hop?"
Boom bap is a derivative of hip hop. Hip hop's the culture. Hip hop's not just the music. Hip hop is graffiti, breaking, MC, and DJing.
The five
Some
elements,
say
yeah.
that the clothing is another element, and knowledge is another element. But that's up for debate. The fact is that hip hop, as they say, Keres used to say, hip hop is something you do. Rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live. So hip hop's the culture. Rap is a derivative of that, and then boom bap is a derivative of rap. So it's kind of like there's levels.
So how would you specifically describe boom bap and use like big people, use TI words?
I can't use TI words, but boom bap is like boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. It's like the drums. It's the syncopation of the drums.
Got you. See,
it's how the drums sound, bro. It's the drum patterns. That's what it is.
See, me personally, I think of it as a flow pattern from the rappers that I associate with boom bap. But since they're obviously flowing,
they're flowing 100% the drums. The drums.
They're flowing because the drums, though, right?
Yeah. When you think about it, if you listen to any boom bap producer, they've always got the boomers, the kick snares, the kick drums always thumping, and then the snares always hitting. You know what I mean? And now
the rapper got to get it from the producer first, anyway. See, again,
of course. And so their cadence is based on the drums, of course. So obviously, when they do when they rhyme on a trap beat, they're like almost like have to double time it a lot of the times. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Or like the original drill, you know, like
yeah. Of course,
I remember,
of course.
You know, the Chicago drill. I remember anytime you dealt with them artists, they had to know the BPM because they wanted that.
That's what I'm saying. And then there's like UK garage, garage and grime, and we had our own UK drill as well. And then we packaged it back to America, and America picked the drill back up and whatever. Yeah, drill's huge out here as well.
As a form of rapper, is it more like a like club music?
Me personally, I respect it. I wouldn't listen to it personally. I think it's a trend, but it's the same as drum back crunk. It's the same as all that. It's like crunk, trap. It's the same. Yeah, trap will eventually die, like everything else. But the one common factor, and G Funk. Let's be honest, G Funk died as well.
Hell no.
Oh, come on, bro. It was the thing. It was the thing. It was the thing.
And it still is the thing. YG,
it was the
Nipsey
thing.
Hussle, Vince Staples, Tyler the Creator, The Game.
Yeah. Let's say not say Dead. Okay, Dead is too far. Let's say not widely used.
Shit. You must not seen the Super Bowl. We're gonna have to agree to disagree about that one.
But the Super Bowl, bro.
I think quietly the West Coast has dominated rap for the last 10 years, and people ain't noticed. I think by far they produce the most classic albums and the most artists that will be legends.
Bro, but I don't know about that. However, the West Coast gets enough love and much love. But do you realize that during the Super Bowl, like, two of those artists were from New York, another one was from Detroit.
Yeah.
And so
they got put on by LA, G-Funk Sound.
There was only 3 people representing LA, really.
You say it's only 3 rappers in LA?
Yeah. No. During the Super Bowl you mentioned,
Mary
J's from New York, 50 Cent's from New York, Eminem's from Detroit, and obviously then you've got Dre, Snoop, and Kendrick from LA.
I mean,
I love that sound.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Huge in the 90s,
but you know, technically,
but it's not huge anymore. And that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
It is though. Classic albums: YG, Schoolboy Q, Kendrick Lamar. That's G-Funk.
Do you think that's G-Funk?
Kendrick, definitely.
To me, bro, G-Funk is what Warren G started, because Dre didn't start G-Funk. Warren G started G-Funk.
Above the Law started G-Funk well before that. I think
Above the Law. I think Black Superman and all that was okay. I would say Above the Law. That's a good shout. I would say Above the Law possibly could have started it, but Warren G perfected it.
Hey, Above the Law will tell you that they started it.
Above the Law probably would.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'm telling you, Warren G perfected it, because he called his album the G-Funk era, and it was dope. So it was sick.
Word.
But yeah, come on, man. Like, Warren G is underrated, man. He made bangers before he came out with his. You ever heard the Mr. Grimm track that I produced, Indoor Smoke?
I have not.
Oh, bro, man, come on. That was like 93.
You said
This is way before it came out.
You said the Mr. Grimm. That was a rapper. The Mr. Grimm.
Mr. Grimm was an MC. Here's an MC. I don't know if he still raps anymore, but Warren G produced it. And I think he guested on the track. It's called Indo Smoke. And
what album was it on?
That does sound familiar. It was on the soundtrack to
like Above the Rim or some shit.
It was on one of those films in the early 90s, bro. It might be Menace to Society, possibly. No, actually, no. Before
Above the Rim. It was on Above the Rim. I'm pretty
Above
sure.
the Rim soundtrack.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that is an underrated ass song. You right like a motherfucker.
It's dope. It's so and Nate Dogg is on that. Smoke it.
Hey, speaking of underrated, you ever heard Nate Dogg's G-Funk Classics album, Volume 1 and Volume 2? That's some underrated shit.
That's what I'm saying. So I would say Warren is certainly one of the creators or co-creators of G-Funk. Can't get away from that. But yeah, I totally agree with you about Above the Rim. Above the Rim. About like tracks like Black Superman and stuff, man. Above the Law.
So
I love that track.
I do too. I don't know if you watched it, but I'm sure you're aware of Genius, and I see it's got a lot of youngins asking what backpack rap is, and I see a lot of people saying it's it's the same as boom bap, you know, like on social media and shit. And like I don't know if I agree with that statement.
Let me break it down. It basically backpack rap was a movement in the late 90s with an independent scene in New York. So like Raucous Records was very much connected to that kind of movement. And people like LP and Pharoah Monch and just other, I guess you could say even Mos Def, people like that were very much lyrically driven with a boom bap sound. And what's what you would call backpack rap. Gotcha. It was very much independent and very much in the late 90s. And then it kind of just died a death in the early 2000s, really.
Because I ain't trying to be vain or something, but I've been doing this shit for a minute too, and like a lot of times youngins ask me questions about shit, and some of that shit's like kind of hard to answer because it's more of a feel, and then like a lot of people, they might have made, I mean, not exactly, but let's say approximately if they made 100 songs, they might have made 50 boom bap and 50 G-funk or somewhere in between or whatever.
Exactly.
So like you can't always like box everything in, and then something ain't always the same as what it was when it started. So what part of it am I explaining to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The lines is not as easy as they used to be, man. It's like you can't just like put one artist in the box and say he's boom bap or he's G-funk or whatever, he's trap or whatever, because even like someone like Drake will do like a UK drill track. Right. And then he'll do like a boom bap track, and then he'll do like what sounds like something like Miami bass, and then he'll do something like the music from DC, the
go-go. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, what's the music?
Go-go.
The go-go music from DC, and then he did that other track when it was like down in the Carolinas or something. The Kiki, do you want it? That one. It was based on a sort of like a I can't remember the exact area, bro. Not the Carolinas. It was somewhere down there. New Orleans based music. So yeah, all over the place. You can't categorize
bounce music.
You can't categorize like you used to categorize, bro.
Yeah, you got that right. But I don't know if you necessarily invented this, but you're certainly definitely the largest proponent of it. You categorize with True School, so
yes,
I could try to tell people about it, but it sounds much better in your words. So for those who don't know, what's True School?
Well, in my terminology, it's not new school, it's not old school, it's true school, and it's like literally there's a message in there. And there's a classical element to hip hop in there, but it doesn't sound old fashioned or outdated. So like people, instead of saying, "Oh, that's 90s," no, it's not 90s. It's music with soul, with a message, and it's today, talking about what's happening today. So it's not new school, old school. It's true school.
Man, you just made my life easier, man. You just made my life easier like a motherfucker. Because when I write about music, like a lot of times when somebody like Arrested Development makes a new album like for the fucking love, for the FKN Love, however you say it. But you know, I got tired of saying this cliched shit. I kept saying variations of, it sounds like the essence of themselves, but not dated. Or
That's right.
they
That's
stay
right. True school, bro. Exactly.
So now I'm gonna start saying true school.
100%, 100%, bro.
And
100%.
man, we're gonna spread that shit. I'm gonna hashtag it anytime there's a post like that.
No doubt, no doubt. Now because like
That should be a movement for real.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, like, I mean, I would not want to, like, that's ridiculous calling boom bap old school 90s, because boom bap is a feeling. Boom bap is a like I said, the syncopation of the drums and then the lyrics, the cadence coming on top of it. How could you just say that's 90s? Because what we're gonna say in 20 years, our trap was so 2000s and 20s. Like, nah, man, the G-Funk is not just 90s either. Like, not really.
Well, see, I mean, here's a perfect example. Like, when you ask me, do I think the stuff today is still G-Funk? I do, because you're talking about trap now, right?
Yeah.
But what trap is now ain't what trap started as. Because if you ask what somebody trap was in 2005, they're gonna be talking about Clips, Jeezy, Gucci Man, T.I. You see what I mean? So I guess you're right. You know, if we're talking above the law and Warren G, a lot of stuff today isn't that G-Funk, but it's today's G-Funk.
Yeah. And things morph and things change to a degree. And like there's a sort of like, even boom bap that describes some of the stuff coming out now as new school boom bap, where a lot of guys, which I don't personally do, take away the drums and make it really slow, make it really sinister sounding, and make it sound like some spooky horror film shit. But at the end of the day, I don't personally do that all the time. I wouldn't want to. But some people have tried to, like, you know, evolve it to a certain degree, rightly or wrongly. And then the same things that happens with anything, like you say, trap, like you say, G-Funk, it evolves. It doesn't just stay rooted in exactly what happened in the 90s. It changes and evolves. Yeah.
So speaking of evolution, let's talk about your evolution. When you started in the music industry, you know, you got signed as a rapper, as a group, you had success as a producer. At that point, had you been to college at all?
Yeah, man.
At that point, had you received any degrees?
Yeah, when I first got signed, I had just finished my degree, my bachelor's degree.
So at some point, I don't know if you stopped doing music or slowed down or whatever, because I imagine it must have took a huge amount of time. But you went ahead and, well, I mean, you got a doctorate, so that means you must have got a master's too. So
that's right.
So you literally are Dr. Configa.
I'm literally Dr. Configa. So, I remember when Speech found that out and he thought it was a gimmick, a marketing gimmick. I was like, no, bro, it's actually real. Yeah.
Well, I mean, salute to you for that. And I ain't gonna hit you with the dreaded talk about it, but can you just describe the process? And I'm not sure if you're aware of the American educational system, but if there's any difference in what you have to do to earn a doctorate compared to what people over here have to do.
From what I understand, is that in America it takes you longer. Like over here, if you do it full time, you can get it banged out in 3 years. I didn't do it in 3 years. I did it in 4.5 because you can take an additional year if you need to. So with all things considered, in the 6 months wait I had before my final exam, it took near enough 5 years, really. But in America, I believe it's about 7 before you can even get your doctorate. So it's longer in America. But the hustle is still the same. And, you know, generally, you know, within reason, it's pretty much the same process, really. I mean, you get examined at the end of it. You got to sit down. It's called the Viva at the end, or Viva, however you want to pronounce it. Viva Voce, we call it over here, which is like Latin for defense. In America, I think they just call it defense. But yeah, you have academics firing questions at you, making you feel like shit. At the end of the day, if you know your stuff, you can defend yourself. It feels like being in court, basically. So it feels like being in court, but you defend your thesis and you defend its defense. And if you know your stuff, you have the meeting out of the palm of your hand before long, which is what I did.
What was the name of your thesis?
My thesis was on the white appropriation of hip hop.
The white appropriation of hip hop.
That's right.
And
in Newcastle upon Tyne, where I'm from. Yeah, it was because you had to pick an area. Well, I picked an area. I didn't have to pick an area. I chose the thesis. But I thought, I'm a white guy from Newcastle upon Tyne. What else would I know about other than being a white guy from Newcastle upon Tyne in hip hop? And so, of course, getting the interviews is very easy. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So what you said you have to defend your thesis. In what ways were they challenging it? Like, what were some of the questions they asked you?
Wow, bro, it's a while ago now. The questions that they asked was in like
My bad. That's
2010.
fascinating to me because I've never heard of
Yeah.
such a process.
They were just they were trying to trip me up on certain areas of knowledge. Because
Well,
in the thesis
good
itself,
luck with that. Like,
well, it makes you feel like you're trying to make you feel small and that you don't know your stuff. But really, if you know your stuff, you can they try to lay traps for you. And then if you know your stuff, you can disagree with that and say, no, that's not what that meant. This is what it really meant. And they know they're trying to trip you up, because there's a lot of people out there who get people to write their PhDs for them. And then obviously, you know, if they get to a certain level to the end of the process, they won't know anything. Like, right. you need to know your shit, because I wrote it. So I knew back to front, sideways, left, whatever. So yeah, nobody could test me on that. It was answers for days. So yeah, so I wrote about the history of hip hop. I wrote about how the American and British differences within hip hop, and even actually before that, blues music, and just culturally how different, divergent UK and US were. And then and basically then found out that new ethnicities were being created within the UK, particularly within my area, which didn't technically have a big black population to refer to, but were actually deriving a lot of their information and knowledge from online, from UMTV Raps back in the day, like taking it, instead of like having it immediately around them, they were taking a lot of their influences from the media and within a sort of an American style, and using those Americanisms within their local language.
And what was your conclusion? Because a thesis has to have a conclusion, right?
My conclusion was that racist is one thing, ethnicity is another. So you can have different ethnicities within one race. So therefore, most of these people were white. However, ethnically, they were different to the local traditional dance music loving people that they coincided with, because these were a collective of people who were their identities were formulated around hip hop. Therefore, they would dress a certain way, obviously, act a certain way, think a certain way, behave a certain way, which is directly reflected from hip hop.
I've always felt musically, regardless of the genre, regardless of the race or any of the socioeconomic politics involved with it, that it's appropriation. If like for instance with Lil Richard, and then the Beach Boys heard that shit and said, "Oh, we'll make more money making music." To me, that's Elvis. Appropriation. But
Elvis appropriated the blues, same thing. Rhythm and blues, which is a sped up version of blues. R&B became rock.
But if someone
even countries derived from black music.
But if someone like yourself grows up feeling a kind of music in your soul and it's inside of you to create it, then I don't think it's exactly possible for it to be appropriation, regardless of what genre and, like I said, any economic boundaries. Because there's never anything wrong with music that comes from the soul, even if it sounds terrible, because for the person who made it, they've released something good into the universe, if by nothing else, by let's say cleansing their palate.
Yeah, I mean, with me, when I first heard hip hop in about 1987, I never thought for one second I was appropriating anything. The music just struck something within me. It was only later on, becoming an academic and stuff, that the word appropriation was even floated to me, and then I just applied it to certain people. But with me personally, when I was a young kid, I never wanted it to be cool, because hip hop wasn't cool then, bro. Where I was from, hip hop was not cool. I barely knew anyone who liked it. In fact, at that point, I didn't know anyone liked it. I introduced people to it, so I was the only person who liked it at one point in my circle, and I got them onto tapes, which we had at the time. I got them into native tongues, me, and then I joined high school, and there's maybe a few people at best. Like now, you'd get all sorts of people in hip hop. Back then, people barely knew who Tupac was, because Tupac, as big as since he died, than when he was alive. Like, so we're talking like 93, 94. Like a few people knew who he was, most people didn't. So yeah, it wasn't a hip hop school at all, or so yeah, we were kind of like outcasted within our own school, really. In a certain way, because we like music that other people didn't. So yeah,
no, I can definitely dig that. So you have I guess what you would call a prominent role in Chuck D's record label. Can you elaborate on that, and how did you meet Chuck D?
I'm not on Chuck D's label now currently, but I did release a project through Chuck D. They basically searched me, they A&R'd me. Chuck's A&R went out. She came across an album I produced, and she hit me up to join the label. At that point in time, I didn't think it was the right move, so I released that album. That I'd already self-released that album, and I wasn't, even though it was the great Chuck D, because he's the CEO of it, not the COO. It was being run by somebody else. Anyway, his A&R hit me up, and she tried a couple of times. I think the second or third time she got me, and I committed to putting out an album through their record label. And I did, and it was dope and great experience. But the fact is that the second time around, working with Chuck's right-hand man, Jahi, we had an option to release it again through the record label, but we were told, rightly, wrongly, that it would take a significant period of time to put it out. With the pandemic hitting at that particular point, we decided to release it through my record label, and just immediately, not wait and sit on it. And that was a conscious decision.
What's your label's name?
Configaration Records.
Configuration Records, and you got quite a stable of artists. I'm definitely gonna check out their music after I finish going through your discography.
There's a good catalog there. There's a good catalog. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely saw on your website, which will be included in the show notes of the Dirty Glove Bastard post.
Thank you, bro.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, the Bandcamp is always important because it supports independent artists better than anybody.
Word, definitely. I know a lot of people that you know, that man Aguilar stays selling stuff on Bandcamp. You know,
love Bandcamp, bro. Love it.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of artists aren't aware of it, and it's a tool that can help a lot of indies, a lot more than SoundCloud can.
Because Bandcamp gives you a good, that even go free one day a month where you don't get any fees whatsoever. And then not only that, but you can sell your merch to them. You obviously digital downloads, which is old school, but you can you sell your vinyl through them. And it just makes the process really easy. And SoundCloud, you don't really make any money through SoundCloud. And yeah, okay, streaming this, streaming that, but you've got to get a lot of streams to make what you do just from one sale on Bandcamp. Like one sale, you could be like for a single charge like $1. To get $1, even $1 on Spotify is like, I don't know. I can't remember exactly how many you get, but you get 0.003 cents a stream, basically.
Yeah, that ain't
so it's certainly, a lot of streams just to make like, for example, if you sell an album on Bandcamp for $10, right, you would probably need, God, how many streams, man? Thousands and thousands.
Yeah, I know the race. Like when I be telling my wife, like, because she be interested in my guests, like what level they're at. And like, if I'm talking about like some 90s cats, it's like, if she's never heard of, I can be like, well, they went 4 platinum, so she know that's a big fucking deal. But like nowadays, if you say that, like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like it's almost more like, if I want to impress her, they got to have like a video that's got like 10 million views or 100 million.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
that's just fraudulent though, because like them shit's just playing if you forget to turn your TV off, or if you turn your TV off but don't turn your shit off, you know what I mean?
Bro,
or like motherfuckers hate watch shit, like that dude Stitches. You remember Stitches?
Yeah.
I throw the brick in your face.
Yeah,
man, motherfuckers was hate watching that shit. Like
exactly.
if that shit had went to the store, not one motherfucker would have bought it. You know what I mean? Nobody
bro,
would have bought that shit.
but bro, to be honest with you, a lot of these labels have been found out for like buying like views and stuff. It was even like Justin Bieber had to sort of like his record label had to like literally admit that they fraudulently bought views. Like it's endemic through the industry. Like these people are not earning as many views as you think they are. Like they're earning a lot, but not as many. Not like a billion views. Really? Nah, man.
Well, I mean,
10 billion views or whatever they want to say. Nah, it's not as much as you think.
I mean, when people
Why would they buy them?
It's perception, and then perception becomes reality.
Perception, and it's the same with everything else, like followers, you name it.
Yeah, I'll never be asking people to follow me, rate me, none of that type shit. I be getting annoyed at that shit. If I like your shit, I'll be motivated to do it. I feel like
exactly.
I feel like you done already spent some time listening to me talk. Well, right, I got to ask you for some more shit.
Exactly, man.
Unless I'm selling some, then you're asking to buy it if you like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly, man. Crazy, crazy. The industry today is crazy, man.
Hey, before we finish up by talking about what you got coming up, you know, this should be generic with some people, but like I said earlier, from the disparity of sonic sound beds, I ain't trying to sound all pretentious and shit, but the different music that you can create. I'm curious, what are some of your favorites outside of rap? Like if you'd ask me that question, I'm gonna say like Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, Nina Simone, Black Sabbath, Howlin' Wolf. You know,
great choices, man. Couple of British bands in there. I would. Wow, I like all the
British music is the fucking best. Shit.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that. Historically, I think 100%. For such a small country as well. I would say like Hendrix. I would say like best ever. Jesus Christ.
No, it's not gonna be best. That's like I said, your favorites. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just and it only gotta be that influential shit, but maybe just the things that like the sound really grabbed you. Like for instance, the first time I heard James Brown, I never heard nothing like that. So maybe some artists that gave you those type of moments.
Yeah. Definitely Jimi Hendrix. The fact is, I grew up on my dad used to subject me to a lot of 60s music, so I love like Deep Purple. I love like Hendrix,
like Iron Butterfly and shit like that.
The Who. But I love Motown as well because my mom brought me up on a Motown, so like Four Tops and all that kind of stuff. And then even just more moving further on, like you said, Guns N' Roses, man, like. And then even the sort of like the early soul scene of the UK with Soul to Soul, Loose Ends. It's just a lot, bro.
Was Don Penn from Britain?
Oh, it's Reading. Just loads, man.
I love us Reading. Hey, you know all those 60s and Motown joints you named. I got at least 5 vinyls from each one of them sitting behind me.
Love them. Love that era. 100%. Love it, man. Love it.
Yo, you ever heard either the Ray Charles does country or Diana Ross and the Supremes do country and western? Yeah, man. Yep. Man, people don't. I feel like that shit's so underrated. That shit goes so
underrated. Underrated as hell. Underrated as hell. And yeah, man, Sam Cooke, all that stuff, man. So seriously, like you can't go wrong, man. Can't go wrong with any of that stuff. Like the blues, a lot of blues that you just mentioned, Howlin' Wolf, for example, John Lee Hooker. Like my dad loves the blues as well, so he got me on all that. You know what I mean?
Little Walter with a harp.
And then, for example, you must remember you'll know this track, "The House of the Rising Sun" by the Animals.
Right. Yeah.
They're from my city, bro. So actually, what happened is that the guy singing is a little white guy. He doesn't sound like a little white guy, but he is British. Yeah. And then their bassist is the guy that discovered Hendrix, and he became Hendrix. The bass player from the Animals became Jimmy's manager. So yeah, they brought him over here. Yeah.
Damn, that's some wild ass shit.
It's dope. It's dope, man. It's dope. And then Sting's from my city. Sting. And then my dad knew him from back in the day. The lead singer from AC/DC, Brian Johnson, is from my dad used to know him back in the day. And Sting knew them all. Brian Ferry from Roxy Music. Lots of people from. It's such a small city that I'm from originally. Like it's produced some big artists. Sting definitely AC/DC. Well, the lead singer from AC/DC.
Man, keep your girl the fuck away from Sting. You know my first. I never realized that Sting was the dude that sang like every breath you take, because I was like,
oh, bro,
I was
that's
like,
with the that was with the police.
I was
That
like
was his
eight.
band.
I was
Yeah,
like 8 or some shit, right?
yeah.
He either went on Arsenio Hall or David Letterman, and they asked, and I was probably like 10 at the time, and they asked him about the Kama Sutra shit, and he was like, I can have sex for 6 hours without achieving an orgasm.
He's famously known for doing that thing, that whole shit. I can't remember the exact. It's not Kama Sutra because that's the positions. There's the other thing where it's like
tantra.
tantric. And it's a thing where you can like,
but bro, that was the first time
I the door for like
heard,
20 hours. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever heard the word orgasm in my life, because like I was growing up in DC, so I knew what nut meant. You know what I'm saying? But like at 10, I didn't know what orgasm was.
He kept it fancy. Yeah.
I live with my grandmother. I went and asked her. I was like, RP. I was like, Grammy, what's an orgasm?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And look, she was kind of wild. She was like, man, I ain't known for at least 50 years.
You poor grandma. Tell you, man. Your granddad need his level up, man.
Oh, I mean, well, she married him when she was in her 20s, and he was in her 70s, and he died and left her a real estate empire. So she was good. She was good.
He's in the 70s? All right. Okay. All right.
Wow. Hey, true story. Prince George's County in Maryland, where this man Kevin Durant is from.
Can I check? Your grandma wasn't Anna Nicole Smith, right? I'm joking.
Nah.
She married a guy in his 90s, didn't she?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Believe it or not, she was never with another man the rest of her life. My grandmother.
Wow.
But
for being so young. Wow.
Yeah. But where this man kept PG County in Maryland, my man, my grandfather, who obviously I never met, he died in the 50s. He rented out. He built a bunch of homes. It's now the richest black county in America. And
wow, bro.
Even though it was illegal, he built like literally thousands of homes all over this county right outside DC, and sold them all to black people and moved them in mass, and desegregated the whole fucking county.
That's dope. That's dope, man.
True story. I ain't never said this shit in public or on a podcast before either, because I be wanting to stand on my own merit.
Exclusive, man. You should be proud of that.
I am. Whenever they talk about white guilt or any of that shit, I know I don't got none.
You've got zero guilt, man. No need to be guilt about anything. There's no guilty about anything, man. As long as you represent correctly, that's all that anybody gives a shit about or should give a shit about.
Hey, you know where the word slave comes from?
No.
Slav.
No.
Because the first people that were slaves were Slavic people.
Yes. Correct, actually. You just jogged my memory,
that would mean that the first slaves were white people.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's well-known fact, well documented that there was as many Irish slaves as there were African slaves in America, for example.
Yeah, but they had a little bit better PR. Sometimes they called them indentured servants. So
indentured servants.
So exactly. Somehow that doesn't count.
That's exactly right.
And also, I bet if you went and asked one of them Irish people, they damn sure felt like a motherfucking slave.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and actually, it's not just that, but a thing that people turn a blind eye to is that Africans were selling other Africans for slavery. It wasn't just the white man.
That was the majority of the slave trade.
Yeah.
Because I mean, think about it, man. How many motherfuckers is gonna get on a boat, sail to some country they ain't never been to, deal with a bunch of hostile terrain they ain't never went through, or maybe they've done it like a few times before, but it's been years in between by necessity of the length of the voyage, and then kidnap some motherfuckers in their native habitat who are like proud, fierce warriors. That shit don't even make sense.
Bro, these people had already been found generally, and then they were sold to the white man to take over. They had already been found by, the guys that run the slave trade in their country. So yeah.
I mean, that's why I don't feel like anybody should feel any racial guilt for anything, because they try to make black people feel guilty for America or feel inferior. I don't feel anybody should feel. Every person, no matter what race, ethnicity, sexual preference, or gender, is capable of every atrocity and blessing
100%.
and good 100%. Thing in this world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, amen to that.
But let's finish that. Looking through your discography on Spotify, you're always productive. So what do you got coming the rest of 2022?
I hope to have certainly an EP out in the next few months. Can't say too much about that, but it's going to be more melodic and it's going to be R&B. And I've never put out an R&B project before, and I'm looking forward to that. I just want it to be just different, to like just bars and stuff. So, and then there's a few other things in the pipeline which I can't speak about, but yeah, I want to put out 2 to 3 releases this year, hopefully. Yeah.
And you said it's Configaration Records?
Yeah, I put out my own stuff on my own label. Yes, obviously the stuff that I do with AD comes out through Vagabond, which is Speech's label.
Word. And it's on all digital streaming platforms. It's
all digital streaming platforms,
it's
in particular the
Configa,
Bandcamp, which we love the most.
Configa.
Configa, man. Yes.
And then what's your socials, brother?
All generally, in fact, all of them at Configa, Configa. Apart from, I've been made to join TikTok recently, and I couldn't find that social, and so I had to put something perfunctory like, oh, it was Configa Beats or something, and I was like, oh man, I'm not feeling this. This is the only one that isn't the same. Like, oh man, like really? But are you on TikTok?
Nah.
Because like people are on like, oh, you're missing the hot shit. It's not just about people miming to like lyrics or watching like stupid video or acting out videos or whatever, but like there's still a lot of that shit, to be fair. But
TikTok's partially owned by the Chinese government.
I know, bro. I know.
And they're into like slaves and killing Muslims and shit, so I try to stay away from that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, it was going to be under Trump's administration, they were going to get rid of it in America, but that didn't happen. But yeah, it's taken off, I've got to say. And there's actually people I didn't think would ever join TikTok who I know. And they're like, you got to join. It's not the way it was, because I thought it was just, my kids watch TikTok, like stupid shit with stupid dances and like miming to like stupid videos. But apparently it's bigger and better than that. I don't know. I'm never on it.
Hey, they be finding mad music though. Like my
that's
son,
what I'm saying.
My son
that's
found Mobb Deep off that shit. My daughter found Erykah Badu off that shit. My other daughter found Carole King and Joni Mitchell.
They like miming to the old school music. So my music is on there because obviously by default it just goes out to all the platforms, and TikTok is one of those platforms. So I
ain't got front like I'm all virtuistic. As my platform continues to grow, knock on wood and shit.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I definitely hire a motherfucker to run a TikTok for me, but
that's what I need because.
I ain't finna do that shit.
It's not my job, bro, to be
because like everybody told me that you had to do Snapchat. What the fuck happened to that?
They said the same shit to me too. Exactly. It's now for like teenage girls, pretty much, I think.
I remember they used to have that logo on ESPN and shit. I don't see that shit.
Yeah. Snapchat was apparently the hot shit, and now it's for teenagers to send little love hearts to each other or whatever they do. So yeah.
And plus, how we know that any of this shit's even gonna be the same in the metaverse? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, bro. Which is coming, like 100%. Like people are like
coming. That's just around the corner. It's the first of the month, and that's just around the corner with a bag of crack.
Exactly, man. And like I know people that have actually positioned themselves already in this metaverse. Like they've got like obviously because on the blockchain, and I've only recently learned. Like last year was the first year I bought crypto. It's because this whole Russia shit, it's taken a huge plummet, like worth less than half of what it was worth, but it's whatever.
Well, my man, that depends on where you're spending it at and what you're using it for.
Well, it depends.
I mean, we're not gonna get into that actually, but
but the reliable ones, maybe the reliable ones are no longer reliable. So I'm saying.
Maybe if some friends who be down them roads or something, you might. There's other things you can do with crypto.
Yeah, of course. NFTs, bro. Everyone's talking about NFTs. I'm trying to.
No. See, you're still talking about above the board shit. Like I said, there's other things you can do with crypto. But
you'll have to DM me some of your ideas because yes, the above the board shit is NFTs. And crypto,
and I'm not even actually talking about. I'm not even talking about none illegal. There's some gray areas though.
Yeah, well, it's gray areas that to be exploited, right?
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
That's what happened with that. I forgot what that shit was, but when all them people took advantage of them headphones with that stock app like 6 months ago or whatever.
Yeah. 100%, man. 100%. you know, but the metaverse, like you said, is round the corner, and it's just going to change. People are going to be wearing those goggles and that, bro, walking around, like engaging with people from different countries, like reaching out, touch them and stuff. And that was always going to happen. That was always, it was always going to become like a virtual world.
Oh no, it's not even goggles now, bro. I heard Mark Zuckerberg on the Lex Friedman podcast, and he said it's just going to be some regular glasses.
Yeah, actually, I heard that as well. Actually, that they're going to actually
and them bitches
smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah,
they in production. They just regular glasses.
Crazy.
You're gonna be able to get them with, like, you know, if you need glasses in your prescription and all that shit.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the color changing Jones to get dark in the sun, all that shit.
Crazy. So like, if you're on the metaverse, right? If you're in the metaverse and you're trying to walk somewhere, like, will you be able to see even while you're walking? If you're like,
but like let's say you want to see like dinosaurs flying, you'll be walking down fucking wherever you're at, but there's
and it's superimposed in the sky.
It's superimposed.
That's crazy shit, man. It's crazy. And that's the kind of shit that, you know, it's not Back to the Future shit, but it's like happening now. Like we waited for, like, we didn't have all the virtual world as quickly as they said we were going to have it, but it's really coming here now. And then next we'll have hover cars and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they've always predicted.
Man, people fitting to be fat as fuck.
Oh yeah, they will, like, they will never leave the house to meet people, which you don't anyway. And they will literally get out their fat asses and go into their cars and just hover. And they'll fly in their cars over the water and stuff. You know what I mean? Or even get on a plane.
No bullshit. Hey, since we say one last thing then, what's blood pudding?
What's what?
Blood pudding.
Blood pudding?
Yeah, they be eating that on like Peaky Blinders and shit.
Oh, black pudding, not blood, black pudding, black, which is actually made out of blood, bro, which is actually made out of blood. Yes, it is. I know, I would not eat that shit. I wouldn't, but yes, black pudding is literally blood. Yeah. It's like haggis. I'm half Scottish. Haggis is a sheep's a sheep's stomach. Or is it cow? I think it might be cow or sheep. No, sheep. It's a sheep's stomach. But yeah, stuff that, and also the serve over here, I think called was it liver, and they literally serve a liver from some animal, and it's just like chewy and horrible with onions. Got some shit. Yeah, it's ludicrous.
I eat liver almost every day, and you know.
You like liver?
Basically, all
I used to like when I was a kid, bro, but I didn't know what I was eating.
basically, all I eat is liver, sweet potatoes, eggs, and mad supplements. I'm on some health shit. But before I got on my health shit, I can't say nothing about the intestines because I used to fuck with chitlins hard.
Right, exactly. What about haggis? You ever had haggis?
Nah, I ain't had that. Nah.
And I'm sure then you won't mind the Peaky Blinders black pudding or blood pudding, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, that's just good for building muscle. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, the protein and stuff, I guess. Yeah, all that kind of stuff, like whatever.
Oh yeah, all that organ meat is really good for all that.
Yeah,
shit. But, damn, we got way off track, man. Configa beats, but stay on after we stop. Make sure y'all check them out. Configa everywhere, all over the new Arrested Development album, For The FKN Love.
Indeed.
And thank you for your time, brother.
You're welcome, bro. Thanks for having me on.
No doubt.
Peace, y'all.